The movie begins with the young PhD scholar Kate Dibiewski working with the Subaru telescope in Michigan. In her research on planetary movements, she discovers a nearby comet. She is delighted with her findings and informs her professor, Dr. Mindy Randall. He congratulates her on her discovery, and they start celebrating with their small group. Further, Randall names the comet, calling it Comet Dibiewski, and starts calculating its trajectory. Still, the ephemeris number keeps getting low, and they determine that it will strike the Earth in 6 months. Because of its enormous size of 9 to 10 kilometers in circumference, it can cause extinction on a global scale. They start panicking and call NASA to alert them about their discovery. Somehow they manage to get in touch with the Planetary Defense Coordination Officer, Dr. Teddy Oglethorpe, who advises them to travel to Washington, D.C., where they can meet the president to discuss this matter. It is revealed that the information has a classified status. Dr. Oglethorpe joins them at the White House when they arrive early in the morning. They are asked to wait as the president is preoccupied with handling a controversy involving one of her nominees. So they are left waiting the entire day without receiving a response. After waiting for a long time, Jason, the chief of army staff, and the president's son tell the trio that the president is tired and wants to call it a night. They are left with no choice but to find a hotel. They try to find comfort in the hotel by calling their loved ones while keeping their situation secret. Randall phones his wife June and his son to check on them, while Kate speaks with her journalist lover Philip. Philip does not understand her situation and brings up her meeting with his mother, which did not end well. The following day, President Orlean and her son Jason finally meet the trio. Mindy seems a bit nervous while talking about the whole thing. However, after a lengthy discussion, she asks them to sit around and assess till the elections are done. They don't take their warning seriously, claiming that they receive alerts about the world's end every month with justifications like the economy collapsing and loose nukes. All three are surprised by the president's words, concluding that the White House is not interested in doing anything to save the world. Teddy advises Mindy and Kate to leak the information to the media. This can get them in trouble because it's classified information, and it's illegal to share anything with the public. But they still leak the information rather than die in a cataclysmic comet impact. Peter Urschwell, tech billionaire and CEO of Bash, launches a high-end smartphone with a high-sensitive touchpoint at an event. The phone can react as per the mood of the user. Once the event is done, he comes to know about the comet from his sources. Philip, on the other hand, helps Mindy and Kate appear in the New York Herald interviews. As soon as he finds out about the comet, he is terrified and unable to speak. Despite the White House's denial about ever meeting the scientists, the New York Herald decides to run the story after verifying the evidence with other scientists. They schedule their appearance on Bria Vante and Jack Bremer's morning talk show, The Daily Rip. While waiting for their turn in the New York Herald office, they encounter Riley Bina, a famous singer who has recently broken up with her boyfriend, DJ Cello. During her interview, she mentions her desire to be with her ex, and DJ Cello also accepts her in a live video call. This immediately takes the internet by storm. After Riley, it's Kate and Mindy's turn, and they start telling about their research. Yet they're not taken seriously by the hosts, who think they should lighten the mood of terrible news. Seeing this, Kate snaps and becomes furious in front of the camera, shouting about how frightening the situation is before leaving. Mindy does stay to complete the interview, and after the interview is conducted, Bree extends an invitation for drinks to Mindy. After receiving the data of the show, the marketing staff of the New York Herald then presents the results to them. Although the singer who spoke about her breakup before them had more social media attention, Dr. Mindy is seen as incredibly handsome for a scientist, while Kate has become a meme as an angry woman. Nobody cares what they had to say. The news channel decides to withdraw its support, because NASA has stated that the data is insufficient. However, they quickly discover that NASA's administrator isn't even a professional astronomer, but one of the president's donors, and is acting on her behalf. To make matters worse, Philip uses Kate's viral popularity to his advantage and publishes a piece about his past adulterous affairs, which Kate accepts as a breakup. The president finds herself involved in a more significant issue involving some private photos of her body. Randall cannot stay off social media, engaging in debates with deniers of science and conspiracy theorists. To apologize for ignoring them, the president orders the FBI to bring Kate, Mindy, and Teddy back to her office. Although Kate immediately realizes that they're only doing this because they're worried about losing their midterms. She agrees to help regardless, because getting to stop the comet is currently the main priority. In a broadcast to the entire country, the president declares that the comet is true, and that they will launch a spacecraft with nuclear weapons to destroy it. Mindy believes they should control the government comet mission remotely, but the president believes that using a hero to represent their plan will help people accept the news. Because of this, General Benedict Drask pilots the spaceship, a person who screams at children on the lawn of the White House. As the incident becomes widely publicized online and receives the attention it deserves, Randall starts appearing on various television programs and magazine covers. After appearing on The Daily Rip again, Teddy and Kate debate comet skeptics on a conservative program. Bree flirts with Randall, and they end up sleeping together and talking about their lives. But Mindy does not inform Bree about his wife. When launch day finally arrives, it is broadcast all over the world. The spacecraft takes off successfully, but General Drask's microphone is immediately muted since he continues to speak racist things on video. Everyone is excited that the comet will be gone soon. Suddenly, Urshwell walks in and asks for a private discussion with the president. Meanwhile, people notice that the spacecrafts are making a U-turn and returning to their base. Before they can understand anything, Mindy, Kate, and Teddy are locked in a room. They are surprised to find out that the mission has been aborted. While the rest of the world is still attempting to figure out what happened, Professor Mindy is brought out of the room, revealing to him that he's been appointed as the White House Chief Science Advisor. Further, he's called to an emergency cabinet meeting, leaving Teddy and Kate behind. The mission was canceled because Urshwell, one of the president's donors, found out that the comet is composed of trillions of dollars worth of rare earth minerals that technology manufacturers utilize in products like phones. They have been running out because China owns most of the mines. Urshwell has other plans, and he reveals that his idea is to deploy some drones to break up the comet, then let the smaller pieces fall into the ocean. Eventually, they will collect and mine them, eliminating poverty and many problems. Randall disagrees with this, particularly when he finds out that the technology Urshwell plans to utilize has not been subjected to academic peer review. Any scientist who sought to voice their opposition has been silenced. However, the situation is now out of his hands, and he couldn't do much. After the meeting, he meets Kate and Teddy in a bar and tells them about Urshwell and his plan. Some people in the bar overhear them and ask them about the comet. As one of the waitresses sees an official White House badge on Professor Mindy, Kate decides they deserve to know the truth. Therefore, she proclaims for everyone to hear that the president will allow the comet to strike the Earth so that the rich may get even richer. The FBI arrests Kate and accuses her of disclosing classified information and causing damage to private property. However, they agree to let her go if she signs a deal promising to stop speaking about the incident publicly or in the media. In addition, she is to go off-grid. Kate, of course, accepts the deal and returns to her small hometown in Illinois. But when she reaches her home, her parents don't allow her in because they support the government, and they believe that there will be more jobs after the comet crashes, and also expect jobs for themselves. She starts working at a grocery store as a cashier, where she meets Yule and his friends, who are impressed by her. Initially, she declines to be herself, but when they show her memes of herself, she agrees. Further, they ask her to hang out with them. Kate accepts to join them, after they realize they've been stealing from the market. She lets them go since she no longer cares because the world end is approaching. She also starts a relationship with Yule. While having an ongoing relationship with Bree, Randall keeps working for the president because he believes it's the only thing he can do to make the world a better place. One night, when Mindy and Bree return to their usual hotel room, they are shocked to see June. Bree makes things easier for Mindy and asks him if he would want to live with her or June in Michigan. Mindy immediately chooses Bree over June, which disheartens her. June throws his pills at him and leaves after saying goodbye to him. Mindy visits Urshwell's factory, where he demonstrates the drones he is planning to use to destroy the comet. Mindy asks Urshwell to be open to the peer review process. Urshwell reveals that many of Mindy's colleagues are suspended from the mission because they ask too many questions. He tells Urshwell not to see the entire mission as a businessman. Furious by this, Urshwell explains to Mindy that he is not just a businessman, and he can talk about anyone's health and character even before it happens. He tells Mindy that he turns to pleasure rather than experience pain, and he will die alone by his algorithms. Again, Mindy appears on the Daily Rip and eventually loses his composure. He becomes enraged and yells at everyone on national television for not being more concerned about the comet, which people have begun to believe is not true. He also highlights how Urshwell silences any scientist who disagrees with him. The president lied, and the entire administration has become insane. Moments later, Bree ends her relationship with him once the FBI apprehends him. Later, while Kate spends time with Yule, she notices the comet in the sky. Meanwhile, Randall is making his way back to Michigan and notices the same thing. The comet has finally gotten close enough to be seen with bare eyes. The two record themselves with it and invite the rest of the world to watch it, launching a look-up movement that millions worldwide join and publish on the internet. A director also makes a film about the comet in due course. As a result, the president launches her own campaign, Don't Look Up, in retaliation, with the backing of millions of conservative voters and conspiracy theorists who take her word for it that Randall wants people to be terrified and lose their freedom. Meanwhile, Russia, India, and China send spacecraft to stop the comet because their share of its minerals has been diminished. Unfortunately, the launch fails and the spacecraft explodes. This causes riots and protests to erupt in the streets. Randall again meets Kate, whom she introduces to Yule, and they go grocery shopping before driving them back to his hometown, so they may spend their final days as a family as the comet draws nearer, and the skeptics begin to see through the lies. Mindy reaches home and apologizes to June. She accepts it and they begin to have their last feast with Kate, Yule, Teddy, and their children. While waiting to begin the launch, President Orwell asks Urswell what the algorithms predict would happen to her for her death. He replies that she'll be killed by a Brontarok, whatever that means. Eventually, the drones are fired. However, they lose several of the drones when the spacecraft take off. Urswell confronts them and says everything is all right, because he knows that there's a tolerance for error. However, he is entirely incorrect, as the rest of the drones explode as soon as they come into contact with the comet. Urswell departs the place by saying he needs to use the bathroom, and is followed by the president, leaving her son, Jason. Afterward, all the other scientists and technicians leave the place except Jason, who stays behind and waits for his mom, the president, to return. Meanwhile, the president and Urswell join other millionaires aboard a covert spaceship, built to keep its passengers alive cryogenically, so they can escape Earth before disaster strikes. The president calls Mindy into the spaceship and offers him and his wife a place to stay. However, he declines, because he wants to be with his loved ones until the end. Further, he wishes her good luck with her son, Jason. At this point, she realizes she has left Jason at Urswell's launch headquarters. People are clinging to their loved ones worldwide as the comet collides with Earth and ends life as we know it. 22,740 years later, the millionaire ship locates a planet with an atmosphere close enough to the Earth's for them to survive. Men and women wake from their cryogenic sleep to explore the area. When the president spots a strange animal and approaches it, the beast attacks and kills her as predicted by the algorithms. Urswell indicates that the beast must be called a Brontarok and tells others around him never to pet them. In the final scene, the only survivor to come out from under the ruins is Jason, the president's son, who takes a live video of himself about how he's the last man on Earth. If you enjoyed that recap, I got a good feeling that you'll like this one too. Click on the video on your screen for more.